Hello and welcome back to another Music Maker guitar video. Today I thought I would sip some coffee and tell you how to play better guitar solos without having to learn any other theory on top of it. Now this is based on an exercise that I was given by David Fiuczynski while I was going to school at Berkeley and taking lessons from him. So this is something that I found really effective over the years, and especially like when you feel like you need some new ideas, this is a really cool thing to do and a really cool place to go. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. So what Fuze taught me to do, and I already kind of wrote this out, but I'm going to take another pass through and see if I can get some more details in here. But start with a blank sheet of paper, write the chord changes on it for the whole duration of this artist's solo. And the one that I chose today was the solo from Nocturne by Julian Lage. And what I found out really quickly was that it's actually not the same form as the melody. The melody has sort of an AABA form, but then the solo section is AAB. And then the last melody is only the final A section. So it is kind of like an AABA form, like all wrapped up in itself. So anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the solo, and what I'm going to be writing here, and what I wrote, is nothing that has to do with theory, or as little as possible. I'm really only talking about like what range of the guitar, how loud, how soft, are we playing notes that are close together, are we playing notes that are far apart, just stuff like that. And then we're going to try and copy it later. Alright, so going into the pickup into the first A section here, he's going to be doing some stuff over that F7 chord. So right away I can hear he starts off on the pickup going in, starts low range, and starts going higher. And he's also pretty loud. Now, a lot of the time, what I tell students to do, so I borrow this for myself, is to start really soft. But what he's really doing here by doing that is he's starting really loud and calling some attention to the fact that he's entering his solo section. And then, as soon as he gets into the A section, he subdues a little bit, he settles into the higher register, and then kind of climbs back down the neck. And I think that's really important, because then he doesn't kind of tell you all of his content right away. He just kind of gives you a little bit of a taste of what the peak is going to be like, and then climbs back downwards. It's really cool the way he does that. So anyways, that's what I wrote. Subdued, high register, lead down the neck over the first two bars. And then there's going to be some space. So that's the next two bars. There's a lot of space, mostly single notes, but he is a little bit harmonized, so I wrote that. I also said lower quadrant. He's just in the low part of the guitar neck. Slow, space, it's very melodic. So those are all notes that I took right there. Now over that next two bars, I'm hearing kind of an elaboration of the same space. There's still a lot of space in it, and it's still the same vibe as the last two measures. And he's also just outlining, because there's some new chords that are happening here. So he's doing some chord outlining, and again, lots of space, and leading into the next two bars, the 2-5-1 that's coming up. That just kind of sounds like a bluesy turnaround. So I wrote bluesy-ish turnaround, and this chord, the F7 that's coming up here, is actually going to turn around into the A section here. So let's see what he does there. I believe it's another turnaround based on what I've written. Little chord turnaround there. Now this is melody, so I just wrote melody. Now forgive me for getting a little bit theory-ish here, but that just sounded to me, he's going to go on there. You can tell I've heard this a couple of times. But that totally sounded like a typical pentatonic guitar player scale. So I said pentatonic, just right there. And he's sliding. He's going up high, the volume is dropped. so there's a lot going on there. So we had sliding, that's in like the second 2 bars, so I'm just in the second A section here, right about here, going into the second line here. But I hear that pentatonic thing, he's sliding, he's inflecting a bit. The volume drops, but then the notes go higher, which is cool. That's a very cool musical counterpoint. You're getting softer, but your notes are going higher, which is technically kind of louder. Then he rises up all the way into his top register, and his volume drops again. Get very soft notes, long notes, and then he leads back down with a little accent and slides over G flat. So like over this section, we have some high notes going lower. Then I heard some bluegrassy chromatic stuff going there. Let's listen back on that. And he's also crescendo. This is all stuff that I wrote down. Is, you know, crescendo, get louder, bluegrassy, chromatic. Those are all notes that you want to take there because that'll help you play. All right, now let's get into this next section. Sounds like he's going into the B. All right, so far that's pretty much just the regular B section melody, but he's definitely playing some faster picking. So what I wrote here was play the melody loud, elaborate with faster rhythms. Okay, that's over the first 4 bars of that section. Here we have, I'm hearing arpeggios. Same chords, he's just playing them 1 note at a time. So I wrote arpeggiate, loud, melody, loud, and then chord tones. Because that's really what arpeggios are, right? Alright, now, we had a little bit of the melody there, and then going into the F7 or F augmented 7, however you want to hear that, he's playing chord tones starting low on the neck, leading up much higher. And it looks like we're going to go back into the melody a bit here. Let's listen. Awesome. All right, so I'm hearing a melody, and he's an octave higher. He's being a little bit more expressive by bending and just using some guitaristic things. What I heard there, though, that was really interesting, I want to add this, is on the D flat major 7 there, I heard just a really close interval chord. So I'm just going to write chord cluster. Just right on that D flat chord, just because that space may be, you know, just a really, really cool place for me to put something of my own there. And again, I don't want to steal his licks, I don't want to do his thing, but if I'm playing, you know, some kind of a solo, I might want to just borrow some of these concepts a little bit. That might be inspirational and might help me play better stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and, you know, transcribe. This is what we musicians do, is we transcribe, you know. And this is what I suggest for anybody who's trying to get better at playing, is think about who your favorite players are. Transcribe what they do, and it's like you're getting like a little bit of a lesson from like your hero, you know. It doesn't mean that you have to play that thing note for note later. It's just that like maybe you borrow this piece from this person and this piece from another person. One of my very first guitar teachers a long time ago told me, if you really want to be the best guitar player possible, when you're performing, you should kind of visualize yourself watching the best guitar player. And the best guitar player is really like a combination of all of your favorite guitar players. So like if your favorite is Julian Lage, if you're like me, your favorites are like Julian Lage and Wes Montgomery and John Scofield, Pat Metheny, Prince, you know, like Jimi Hendrix, just all these people just rolled into like one guitar player. If you can imagine just an amalgamation of all of those people in one guitar player, and then you're watching that, then that should be the music that comes out of what you're playing. You know what I mean? And if you can do that, then you've really achieved something special. So this is a way to add part of one of those guitar players' voices into what you're doing. Again, without having to like learn any extra scales or extra licks or any other like music theory. You're just borrowing. The only things you really need to know to be able to perform this song at this point, what's the chords and what's the melody. If you know those two things, then like all this other stuff is merely conceptual. So if you can think about them like that, then it's a really good way to learn it. So let's keep going here. We're going into that melody. I'm sorry, we're already in the melody, and we just had that chord cluster, and we're also playing an octave higher. Still playing the melody. Alright, cool. So let's go over that 2-bar. Dooba-dooba-dooba-doo. That's same notes as the melody as well, but he's just playing faster rhythm. And I think he's just sort of elaborating, and he's building now. He's going to have to go into another A section here. So he's building now into that final chord. It seems to me like he really loves those chromatic bluegrassy kind of licks over the 2-5-1 going into D flat. So he's got chromatic stuff going down the neck, leading into D flat, and then he's leading back up into the high melody in the next part. Let's hear that. My mouse will work. Yeah, let's hear that again real quick. Down, he went back up. That's really like the most important part. He also built the volume, and he supported his melody. I think that's the most important thing there. It also sounds like he's harmonizing a little bit more on this time. Let's take a listen to that. Leaning back lower. Now that's interesting. He's now kind of opted to stop soloing and just play some interesting sounding chords over this section. So let's take a listen to how he does that. Really great. Love this tune. There it is. Lots of space there. So I wrote chords, space, loud, spread, voice lead, crescendo. Then we have loud melody, and we're gonna have melody from here on out. So I think we can leave this video at that. But hopefully that helps you guys. I would say copy this for yourself. You know what I mean? Like, go listen to this, make sure you understand what things are happening when, and then go see if you can borrow it and make your own version of it that sounds like you. If you like this kind of lesson, please do click subscribe and click the bell and give me a like, leave me a comment. I actually have a question for you today. Who are your favorite performers? Doesn't even have to be guitar players, but who do you love the most? And who do you want to transcribe? You know, maybe we can do some of that together here on this channel. Just let me know if you like this kind of video, and we can do some more of that. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and let Julian play our way out here. But thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video.